STS. Winter sports equipment is fun and colorful and the perfect backdrop for any child's bedroom. We're going to take these salvaged Goodwill headboards. They're $4.99 each. They were from Target, so they're brand new, and turn them into a fun, funky headboard for a boy. These bright colors are fantastic, and they're going to add a little life to the room. So what I did was I just started by stripping off the bindings. They have a Phillips head screw. Just removed those, pulled them off, and then there's a back piece that screw went into. So I hammered from the front and then flipped them over. And what I did is I actually pried it up a little bit so that I could get a hammer under it and pulled it the rest of the way. Because you do not want any little pieces of metal sticking out that kids could catch their head on or push their back up against. So once you've got those all removed, these are ready to be used. Now, in order to use these, let me take you through the equipment that you're going to need. So we have one 8-foot long 2x4. I have one 8-foot long 1x2. I have some felt pads because I want to put them on the back of the wood, between the wood and the wall, so I'm not damaging the wall, and also on the bottom of the feet so that, you know, the floor is protected as well. And then I got some screws. These are 1.5 inch, and the important part is to make sure that they have a head large enough that they're not going to pull through. It's possible if you're using skis or even a surfboard or taking apart parts of a sled. You can do this with anything, but just check your hole size. And you might need a washer. Just make sure you have the right thing. And then also double check to make sure that the wood you have is deep enough to hold the screw that you're putting through it. I went ahead and just used this big clunky 2x4 because I wanted to sink a decent screw into it, so this would be super sturdy for kids. And in order to do that, I took the screws. I just used some scrap. You can use packing material, or I stuck them into some foam from another project, and I painted them red so that they would just blend right in. So we're going to use those to attach them to our frame, but let's talk about the frame. So I have a line of 2 screws on the far right, and I have a line of 2 screws right here. So I lined that up in the middle of my 2x4s, and that's how I figured out how far apart they needed to be. In my case, there's 12 inches in between, so I knew that that's pretty close together. You're not going to get a very stable base, so I wanted to build a stronger frame, not just have the 2 pieces of wood. So that's where my 1x2 came into play. I made a piece for the top and the bottom. The benefit of using this is it's exactly the same width as your 2x4 is tall. If you're using a different piece of wood, obviously you're going to adjust that a little bit. So I made one of those for the top and the bottom. And then I made some braces for the middle. The way you make the braces is I cut a 40-degree mitered cut on my chop saw. I laid it inside here, and then I measured to the other 2x4. So if my other 2x4 is over here, I measured that and I drew it with my pencil, and then took it to the saw and cut it to place. You can see what we did on the saw here. Let's take a quick look. So, in just a minute, I'm going to get the compressor and you're going to see me just go ahead and nail this whole frame together. And then we're going to use the drill to attach the headboards, or the snowboards rather, and put it into place. It's just that easy. The trickiest part is coming up with the frame that's going to be sturdy to hold it together. So let's get started. Oh, one other thing I wanted to tell you. I painted these black because the back side and the edge of my snowboards are black. You're not really going to see much of this because I've planned it so that the snowboard starts a couple inches above the top, and obviously it extends on both sides. But where you see it in between, and if you catch a glimpse of it from the side, I want it to kind of disappear. So matte black for my frame. Whatever you're using, make sure that it matches and blends with your boards, your skis, whatever it might be. So let's get this puppy put together. So I lined up my top to be halfway up my board so that the wood wasn't sticking all the way up. And now I'm just going to move down and screw them all into place. Very simple. Once I have these all in, I'll put the pads on and I'll put it into place.